Well, since everybody's on, thank you all again for being here. This is just kind of a recap of our 3-day event and just another opportunity to share the word about how to go about getting in touch with our various organizations and the services and the assistance that they're offering. So if we want to get started with introductions, Kevin can start first.
Everybody, my name is Kevin Hayes. I'm a senior at Michigan State University and a lifelong resident of the city of Saginaw, and I'm happy to be here with you all today.
Hi, I'm Cecilia. I was born and raised in Saginaw, and I work for a community action agency, and I'm super happy to be here as well.
And I'm Councilwoman Annie Bench. I've been serving on Saginaw City Council. It'll be 10 years this November. So I'm very happy to be here and thank you all for participating.
Hi, I'm Lori Brown. I'm the Finance Director for the City of Saginaw.
Hi, my name is Hurley Coleman. I'm the Executive Director for Saginaw County Community Action Agency, CAC. Happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Sarah Kyle. I'm the Executive Director of 211 Northeast Michigan, serving Saginaw County.
Hi, I'm Audra Davis. I'm the President and CEO for the United Way of Saginaw County.
Okay, thank you all. Well, as you all know, because you guys participated, most of you, we did at the City of Saginaw hold a 3-day utility payment assistance collaborative event, and that was at the end of June and I believe through the 1st of July. And during that 3-day event, we were able to reach over 300 people, but at least about 300 people over the 3 days. To connect them primarily with assistance to help them keep their water on and pay down their water bills. But we had many people come in who needed rental assistance. We had many people come in who needed utility assistance for consumers' energy and tax assistance and various things like that. And while the urgent nature was really around our water bills and our shutoff process, it became very apparent that we needed to make sure that people understood and knew how to connect with all of the other various types of assistance that are available, because it's not just one need, it is many needs. And as we've all heard over the last month, there's been a lot of conversation about the eviction moratorium, and that was I think probably the number one thing I was thinking about outside of water. Was we know that we were going to have an eviction moratorium come to an end, and I think there's been an extension of that to some extent, but it's not something I would rely on if it were me in that situation, or if I were a landlord. So we want to make sure that people know what assistance is available and how to go about applying for it. And there's just a lot of help out there, and we just need people to make sure that they know about it, because if they don't know, they can't seek assistance. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori Brown, and she can elaborate a little bit more about what our situation is with the water department, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. So some of the ways that we've tried to reach out to customers to advise them of that they need to seek assistance or contact us for payment arrangements. So we do provide a billing statement that goes to all households, and it outlines their current charges and their past due balances. I know the mayor and manager have announced several times, probably from the beginning of the year, that citizens should check online, check and make sure to contact the city to reach out to us or to seek assistance. In May, we teamed with United Way, and we gave a list of, I think it was our top 500 customers, and United Way did a mailing on our behalf. It was a flyer that went out to them advising that they should seek assistance, contact us, and that there was assistance available. And then finally, probably the biggest thing I think our staff did was courtesy calls. So last June, June of 2020, we realized that a lot of people just weren't making payments on their account, and they were kind of digging a hole for themselves. So our staff started calling every month people that would normally be on the cutoff list to remind them of what their balance was and to contact some agencies. So our staff continues to do that every month. We're calling people, reminding them to call 211 United Way or to enter into a payment plan with us. So we continue to do that in hopes that people reach out and get the assistance that they need.
Thank you, Lori. We appreciate that. And now, Miss Sarah, if you want to talk a little bit about 211, appreciate it very much.
Annie, can I say, first of all, congratulations to the city of Saginaw for being proactive, for making sure that they're trying to, protect their citizens. Congratulations. So 211 is your source, right? If you don't know where to go for public service, for assistance, 211 is an easy 3-digit number that folks can use. So we started serving Saginaw in 2013, and being a very small nonprofit, we have been growing every year. Last year, I just looked up some numbers. I think we served about 12,000 calls from Saginaw County. And this year, just the first 6 months, we've served over 8,000. So it's free, it's confidential, but people do have to be willing to ask for help. And that sometimes is really difficult, but that's why we promise confidentiality. That's why we're 24/7. That's why my board of directors, including Audra Davis, who's at our local United Way, has really done everything possible to make sure service is available. So folks can text us. They can text their zip code to 898-211 or TXT211. They can search for us online. My full database is available online, so someone might feel like I still have a hard time calling. They can go right to our website and they can search online. My website is 211nemichigan.org, which is long, and I know. But you can also go to 211.org, which is owned by United Way Worldwide. You can put in your zip code and it'll deliver you to my website. When you get there, you can search our database. You can chat with the folks who work on our team. You can find out information about anything that we can offer. And really, we are a public service. So even if you have a question about how 211 works, pick up the phone, feel free to dial us. You're not going to be charged. That's based whatever your cell phone company normally charges, but we are a free service to Michiganders. And when folks are struggling, I love hearing, that you guys are sending folks to 211 because that's why we're here. That's why we exist. And if it didn't work, please let us know. If there's a service that wasn't listed, we're a small nonprofit, but we work very hard to make sure everything is up to date. To even be listed in our database, you have to at least update us annually. We work, really hard to make sure that we're answering calls, efficiently, that we get to folks when we can. This year has been a tough one. For everyone, including 211. But I have the most amazing team behind us, including our staff and our board. And we do whatever we can to make sure that we are proactive. So if you want more information, you go to my website. If you're a church, if you're a community organization, you can we'll mail you tear-off pads to hand out. We can get you posters. What we do is just try to make sure that if there's a way to get information to people, we are doing our best to be on top of it.
Thank you, Sarah. So if we have smaller organizations that provide services and things like that, and maybe they're not aware of 211, do we just tell them to call you and let you know that they provide those services and to include them in your database?
Absolutely. Minus emergencies, right? If you have an emergency, dial 911. You were taught that but call us and ask. So if you go to my website, there's a full form that you can fill out. But again, we never hesitate to say, just call us, right? We do have some qualifications. You have to be, a 501c3 health and human service. You have to be around for a year. But the truth is, if it's a need, we can kind of wiggle around those things because it may be a local need that we can respond to. So yes, pick up the phone and dial. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. Pick up the phone, 211. There we are.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Mr. Coleman from our Saginaw's Community Action Center, if you'd like to take over and let us know a little bit more about your organization and all the assistance you're offering.
Thank you, Andy, and to everyone on this call. I'm appreciative of all that you all do. I think together we couldn't help our community if we don't have great people sitting in these seats to do what we do. So again, I want to say thank you. Audra, thank you for all that you do. We've been working together pretty strong this summer, and it's been a pleasure seeing what United Way has been able to do for our community. But for right now, I'll talk about CAC. CAC is a agency that was brought to this community back in 1965 under the War on Poverty with President Lyndon Johnson. It allowed for thousands of CAAs, which are community action agencies, to pop up all across the country with the signing of the War on Poverty initiative and the community service block grant that went across and spread through. Saginaw County was awarded that grant, and we're one of 1,000 agencies in the country, one of 30 agencies within the state of Michigan. So some of them are private or public, which in counties will facilitate those fundings. So with our agency, we're a private nonprofit, but the same funding source comes from the community service block grant, which we are awarded every year. So within those, we're also given other pots of money that come from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. We've had the FEMA monies, the dollars. We also have other funding sources with the Department of Energy, Department of Labor, in which we're able to help to combat also systemic issues within community and poverty, in which we're trying to attack. So in this case, City of Saginaw gave us some money through the Community Development Block Grant, in which we used to facilitate the water assistance program. But even just talking about what we do on a day-to-day basis, my whole job is to try to help people to become independent, financially independent, self-sufficient, and giving them all kinds of opportunities from food programs. So we do food giveaways every quarter. We have programs for our seniors and senior care outreach, and we've got programs in which we are able to fix their homes, minor home repairs, weatherization. So our agency has a gauntlet of different services, but we're also countywide. So it's not just Saginaw, but we do also focus on those areas of poverty, which we see in our county, which are more so concentrated within the Saginaw, City of Saginaw, Buena Vista, and also Carlton. So within those areas, we're really focusing, but we also have the out county areas as well. So just because we really help the City of Saginaw does not mean that we don't send a team to Chesaning or send a team out to Birch Run or send a team out to Bridgeport to assist our residents there. So just talking about the City of Saginaw and what we did for those 3 days, it was a very incredible feat to come together and bring our services together. Again, we had one side of the building in the city hall, and then Audra had a side, and we found out, and Audra, I'll let her speak for herself, for her agency as well. But we were paying water bills, but we also found out that there were more other critical program issues that were happening. People, even when they got the stimulus money and people had their money, they still were not able to pay their rents. They still weren't able to pay the property taxes. They still weren't able to pay their mortgages. And we had all of these different issues that came at one time, in which we're still trying to navigate and combat. But we were able to assist over 70 people within our agency, within the funding that we had, and we're continuing to assist in case management. So after we pay their bills, we want to make sure that they're following up to make sure that they're on their payment plans, and if they need any other assistance, that we're able to help them out. So hope that gives you a kind of roundabout about what we do and kind of what we did for in June.
And Mr. Coleman, could you just also briefly mention like what are the kind of like the main programs for your agency?
What was the last part?
Oh, the kind of like the main programs for your
The
agency.
main program. So our main programs in which we focus on is emergency services, which emergency services will take care of any eviction evasion, rent payments, mortgage payments, utility payments, property tax payments. And so those are the programs that we run all year round until our money pots are run out. Also, our other programs will be our food giveaway, which is our what we call TFAP. It's a temporary emergency food assistance program. We run that 4 times a year, and it's basically once per quarter. So those fundings over 2,000 people are getting food boxes during that period of time. And if someone needs food beyond that, we do have food available, and we do also connect them with other sources in which they can get food as well. So there's about 3 major programs. I know emergency service is big because we are handling all those other programs, but we have the food, we have the weatherization, we have minor home repairs, and we have senior outreach. And so those are the main areas in which we serve our community.
Mr. Coleman. I'll say myself that it was a few years ago, but I participated in the weatherization program through the CAC, and it was something that tangibly made a difference in my life. They replaced doors, they put blown insulation, and I don't want to overspeak because I know that they might not provide all the same things now.
Absolutely.
But the things that they did were, I mean, very, very valuable things that I could not have afforded to do on my own for my home, and it was an incredible thing to experience because when you need help like that and to get something like that and have people come into your house and help you like that, it's very, very important to be able to to do that for folks. The other thing I would ask, in addition to calling 211 to connect with the CAC, because I know that their services can be found through 211, what is the best way to go about seeking the assistance that your agency has to provide?
So the best way to go about getting information from us or seeking assistance will be to call not only 211, because we are in the system, 753-7741 is our phone number, our website, which you can also put a request in. We are in the process of during COVID, what they did was they had people to call the agency and get an application started over the phone. And then they were digitally sending items that they needed that were necessary for them to complete the application. What I'm trying to do is actually create a web application or platform that will allow them to do the entire application online. So that's something that we're going to be doing. But for right now, until that's set up, it's always going to be calling the center or also send an email to the center via the website, which is www.saginawcac.org.
I have one other question. It wasn't on there, but I know you can answer it. So one of the things I experienced during the 3-day event working with people was many people came in and said, I have no income. And because I have no income, I have no way to prove to you that I have no income. And I just want to know for the CAC, what happens when somebody comes to you and says, I have no income, I don't know how to prove to you I have no income. Can you still help me?
Well, that's a great question, Annie. One of the things that we do when these incidents come up is we have what we call self-declaration forms. And the self-declaration forms basically states on paper, I don't have any income, and they sign it. And by that, it allows us to go ahead and start the application and complete it with the self-declaration form being signed. And if that income cannot be proved, then the self-declaration form stands in place for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ms. Davis, if you'd like to talk a little bit about these United Way Saginaw for us, I'd appreciate it very much.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to connect. And also, I just have to say, like Hurley mentioned, we really do believe in collaborative efforts in the community. There truly is not a single agency that can satisfy and meet all of the needs that our county residents experience. It's through that collaborative effort and the awareness to learn more about the programming and services that are provided. And, that's evolutionary too. I mean, it's always changing and it's hard to navigate. And that's why just a shameless plug for Sarah and 211. That's why it really is so critical to encourage residents to reach out to 211. Even if they just express a single unmet need. The thing about unmet needs is they could really be stockpiling, and a resident might say, I can't pay a single bill and I need help with that, or I need help getting milk and some immediate unmet essential need items like diapers. And Sarah's organization, 211, can say, perhaps you could go to this resource, which will save you money, which will allow you to pay that bill if there isn't assistance available, but we can meet the need on this side of your of your list, and then freeing up disposable income or cash where they could also provide on the other side of that need. So just connecting with that 211 resource helps, I think, free residents from that single-mindedness of one particular need and opening the door to a vast assortment of needs in the community. And also, I would also say, just before I start with the history of United Way, is that everything has changed, after this pandemic. I mean, everything has changed. Nothing is the same. And the one thing that Saginaw County really prided itself in doing, and I can't believe you didn't mention this, Sarah, is we really experienced the lowest unmet need for Saginaw County residents throughout our entire pandemic experience. And the reason that we have the lowest unmet need is because of the work and the referral support that 211 is providing and the network of outreach and support nonprofit agencies are doing together in partnership with community leaders, community members, government officials, business partners. On any given day, on any given week, you might see an email that said, we need hand sanitizer at a child care facility. And 3 or 4 agencies would be volunteering to support that unmet need. It was heartwarming, it was very liberating, and it was very eye-opening, the power of the work that we can do in supporting our community in its highest amount of need. So just to say that right away out of the gate, unbelievably proud of the work that Saginaw County is doing together, and the work that we're doing together, shamelessly supporting and proudly supporting our community in its unmet needs. So United Way has been serving Saginaw County for 102 years. We were originally named the Saginaw Federation of Charities. Lenders in the community recognized the need to create a coordinated funding effort to support critical needs, to support hospital beds and the increased need for hospital beds and orphanages. And so as our coordinated efforts grew in supporting the unmet need in the community, our names and the needs of the community shifted, and we changed our name to the Chest, or the Community Chest. And we had a variety of nonprofit agencies in the community that were developing amazing programs, but we identified as a community, 100 years ago, we identified the need that community nonprofits have in supporting themselves, both programmatically, funding that delivery of service, but also operationally, getting the right people and the right fit inside the organization, paying the rent, and keeping the lights on so that these very critical services in the community would continue to be able to operate. And that was really our strategy 102 years ago, was supporting the work of our nonprofit partners through funding, through a single source, which was at that time Saginaw Federation of Charities, and then the Community Chest. Community Chest satisfied that need really by exceeding fundraising goals to such a degree that during the war and the influenza epidemic, we were able to secure funding that increased beds at Saginaw General at the time, now Covenant Hospital, and increasing beds also at St. Mary's, obviously now Ascension St. Mary's, establishing a central pathological lab, and increasing the capacity for the children's home. Through the years, our focus has really remained the same. We provide through fundraising in our local campaign work, we provide fundraising for community partners that apply through grants to support their critical services and work in the community. We still do that work. And you might say, well, then how are you providing direct services? Why are you doing that? We're doing that because in 2009, 12 years ago, through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which was signed into law by President Obama, to jumpstart the U.S. economy and to create and save jobs, we were awarded through Michigan State Housing Development Authority a grant that provided support in permanent housing solutions and homelessness prevention. And so that really started the ball rolling on what I would say is the #1 direct service support work that United Way of Saginaw provides to the community. And that didn't begin under COVID. It began 12 years ago with the identification of HUD and MISHDA and the city of Saginaw coming together to recognize there were some serious unmet needs in the community, and they needed a lead agency to help support that work. So about 10 years ago, upon the request and approval of HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, United Way of Saginaw County became the lead agency in HARA, which stands for Housing Assessment Resource Agency, for the continuum of care in Saginaw County. So what that means is we represent a host of homeless shelters in Saginaw County in a collaborative partnership. There's an MOU that exists, and that collaborative partnership helps to support the work of our homeless shelters in Saginaw County and providing exceptional services to eliminate homelessness in Saginaw County. As the HARA, we provide oversight to funding to those shelters through a lot of main funding groups, but primarily HUD and MISHDA grants. United Way of Saginaw County is the grant holder of those collaboratively written grants, and the funding sources it's required by law. The funding sources come into the HARA, which is United Way of Saginaw County, and then they are provided through financial or fiduciary oversight, that funding support through that network of homeless shelters. In partnership with that work, we also provide the work as Project Home. And Project Home, again, was really created between 10 and 12 years ago to provide stable housing solutions and prevent homelessness to folks that were at risk of becoming homeless but needed stable support and funding, such as security deposits or rent, maybe hotel vouchers in the case that the shelters were full, and other critical solutions. So I think that's so interesting, that work that we do, because so often we do not do a good enough job talking about that history and that relationship. And also, I think that it serves a real extensive purpose in explaining how it would be that United Way of Saginaw County would be coming into all this funding under COVID relief to provide support for rental assistance and then the homeowner water assistance. And that's really the primary reason is we work to serve the needs as the HARA and lead agency in partnership. And through those critical relationships, we have done really, truly an unbelievably dynamic job funneling that funding directly to our community residents and preventing homelessness in partnership with those shelters that are amazing and do great work, and in partnership with our department and Project Home. So, how did we receive the rental assistance program? Really, again, in essence, it's through our work under Project Home and our direct service support as the HARA that we received the SARA funds, or COVID Emergency Rental Assistance, CERA, as well as the homeowner water assistance. So many folks think it's just the United Way's work that is creating that funding source, but in reality, it's really the work and direct services, the HARA. So United Way is a fundraising agency, which I mentioned, and our primary funding comes through fundraising through workplace campaigns and other fundraising events to support nonprofit program partners and their operations. Currently, we fund 15 programs at 11 different nonprofit organizations, and how agencies receive funding is through an application process and then an evaluation of their applications by community change team members, not Audra Davis at United Way, but about 42 individual community members that apply to help review grant applications and score them. And then there's a funding table discussion and decision made under an evaluative process. There is one exception to our funding, and that's 211. We've made that an internal operations expense, fully committing to support the work of 211 in Saginaw County. And that funding decision does not go through our community change partners, because we feel and identify that there is critical services taking place under the work of 211, and really we own that as a partner, doing good work and providing supportive services to the community. We also provide direct support to the community through our Imagination Library by providing on average 32,000 books to children on an annual basis, ages birth through 5 years. We provide Lexia support to community partners and school districts, which is an online reading assistance program. And those programs can also be not just funded agency partners, but partners at large that did not receive United Way grant funds. We provide VITA, volunteer income tax assistance support, by providing free tax filing to Saginaw County residents that earn $57,000 or less annually, and basically filing an average of 3,600 tax returns to Saginaw County, which provides $2.2 million in refunds to our community members that live in Alice or below, asset limited, income constrained, but employed families struggling day to day to make ends meet. We also provide direct food box support through partnerships and direct services by providing thousands and thousands of pounds of food in partnership with our labor liaison in the community, and you'll see us weekly advertising those food distributions. We provide over 7,500 hours of volunteer service to the community through about 1,500 unique volunteers. And we provide that support to our community nonprofit partners and also throughout the community under the watchful work of United Way directly. We provided community relief to partners throughout Saginaw County. We led the long-term flood recovery to Saginaw County in partnership with the Saginaw Community Foundation, as well as the emergency manager for Saginaw County, providing over $723,000 of support to the 1,200 homes impacted by the flood. We provided over $35,000 under COVID of mobility support through Project Independence in partnership with our labor liaison in building 6 mobility ramps to local families who were limited in their access to the outside world. And then through our SARA funding, we provided year to date support to 935 individual households, which in turn provided support of over $4,555,955 through SARA, COVID Emergency Rental Assistance. And then through our homeowner water assistance, we have provided to date $61,142 of direct support, an average of $702 per household, and just about 100 households have received that support. We still have funding available for both the SARA and the homeowner water assistance program, and residents can call 211 We've partnered with 211 to actually deliver applications through mail or email. 211 can also resource status updates to callers, which we are so grateful for, because through that partnership, it frees our case managers up to actually deliver case management support by providing more financial assistance to more homes more quickly. We have over 20 case managers working on the SARA work directly in Saginaw County. So there's a process that is designed by MISHDA to follow. Not Audra and not United Way of Saginaw. I wish I had more control, quite frankly, but I do not, and we want to follow the rules of our funders. But there is a process through application that individuals who need rental assistance apply either through an online portal or by paper application. And then they send that, or United Way receives that either by email, fax, drop off, or through our partner with 211, mailing the application right to the client. And then the landlord is also required to participate in that funding relief, because funds will go directly to the landlord to provide that support. And so it's a critical component that both the tenant and the landlord are working together. We also partner with Legal Services of Eastern Michigan to provide what I would call, mediary support between landlords and tenants if there's an issue. And 211 can even update a status on those applications as callers need to find out what's going on. There is a review process, a processor process, and then a fiscal process before there is a payout that is sent out for that relief. With the homeowner water assistance under COVID relief and through our work as the HARA in Saginaw County, we became aware of COVID funds that were additionally available. And to be really honest with you, we had no idea the extensive need for homeowners with water relief. We really truly were, I hope I'm running the risk of sounding too idealistic. We really just wanted to help people. No kidding. We were brainstorming ways to write the grant and ways to meet the unmet needs of the community. And we recognized such a strong effort in providing relief to renters in the community. And we recognized the work that our partners at CAC were doing. We recognized the work for direct services that Salvation Army does in First Ward. And we recognized that we were still getting calls for relief from homeowners. And we thought, well, we don't want to get in a lane that's providing that direct service, but we want to expand that outreach in case there is a need. And so when we wrote the grant, we actually identified, we did a simple little math figure of like, well, $1,500 max payout, 6-month max window of support. And we thought, well, we'll say to homeowners and figure that will help, just a very limited amount of people, helping to kind of provide gap services when we knew funding, would lapse for other agencies. And obviously, I guess, I don't know, maybe we had a guardian angel looking out for the community, recognizing we needed more funding or support, or maybe, I'm a dreamer, but we really just wanted to help people with something that homeowner assistance, that we could provide to homeowners in addition to the rental assistance, and ended up coming into the partnership with such a dire need in the community. Again, unbeknownst to us, we had all these households facing shut off and such a critical water crisis. But we've been very proud to collaborate and work hard with our community partners and also our partners at the city, who've been really, really good to our community and to United Way.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. I learned a lot, not only about the services you've provided, but the history of your organization, and I really appreciate that. And same to you, Mr. Coleman. I learned a lot about your organization that I didn't necessarily know prior. So I appreciate both of you. Just really quick, if somebody is watching this, if they're a landlord, they can initiate that process as well. They don't have to wait for their tenant. The tenant can initiate it and then involve the landlord, or the landlord can initiate it and involve the tenant, correct? Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Either party can initiate the process. Residents in 48601, 02, 07, and then in Carlton, we allow for them to self-certify through Sarah, self-attestation about income. The process to apply is relatively easy. Photo identification, a ledger from the landlord showing the balances that are due. We do require proof from the landlord that they are indeed in business as a landlord collecting rent. So we would, require tax information about them and their identification to do business, authenticating that they really are in business and preventing risks of fraud. We ask for a copy of the lease agreement from the landlord as well, exhibiting proof of that exchange of promise. We ask the tenant to provide proof of income, accepting 01, 02, 07, and then Carlton. But proof of income, we asked for a COVID statement. How have they been impacted by COVID and leaving them unable to meet the financial requirements of rent, and photo ID. And they can either fax that all in, drop it off at our office, call 211 for a paper application. They can apply online through the MISHDA portal, which is quite amazing, I will say, and user-friendly. I mean, folks are taking screenshots, of their documents and literally uploading them very streamlined and simplified. And then there's a process. Saginaw County is leading, really doing amazing work. We're ahead of our required spend down, number one, which is quite phenomenal, I will say. And then also our average processing time is right around 19 days from start to finish. A lot of times though, folks are, they don't want to be accountable. It's like, well, my case isn't moving forward. And it's like, well, our case managers have emailed and called you about necessary documents. So folks need to be participatory in this process. There are things that our team, as much as we would like to get those documents ourselves, we can't provide personal documents for individuals. They have to provide those documents in order to move their case along. And, that part will prevent that case from moving forward if folks are unable to send their photo ID or a proof of residency or, their ledgers or their leases, or their income statements. So we just want to encourage folks, if they're having trouble uploading, our case managers gladly do that all day, every day. 211 can help with that. And, or they can fax it and we'll take care of it from a paper standpoint. And the same goes for the water assistance. That is a very simplified process for homeowners. We designed it to be user-friendly and easy, but if people have questions or are struggling to get those documents uploaded, we will help work with them to provide solutions to obtain their documents as well.
Thank you. And just to clarify for anybody who ends up watching this who might need to seek assistance, it's a safe bet. And from working, I think the event, I might remember what was required, but it's a safe bet to, if you're going to seek assistance, if you're going to call 211, make sure that you're in the process of locating things like your driver's license or your ID, a copy of the current bill that you're seeking relief for, your lease, like Audra mentioned, proof of income if you have it, and if you don't, there are ways to sign and verify that you're telling the truth that you don't have income, so don't let that stop you. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Social security cards for some of the assistants I know is required.
Yeah.
And I know that was a tricky one for a few folks because they didn't have it, and then getting into the office was a struggle. So I know that there are those things, but I also saw on those days where you guys took people's information and went above and beyond to make sure that they knew how after the fact to connect with you guys and make sure that gets in there, and that they get those proofs to you. But if there's anything else I'm missing that I didn't mention, please lay a pipe up and say so, so I don't forget anything. But I just want to say thank you guys so much, not only for the work, especially to Mr. Coleman, Ms. Davis, and the folks that you guys had in Ms. Lene, Abby, just the wonderful people that you guys have working with the actual citizens, and the compassion and the level of concern, because you hear from one part of the community that says there's nothing we do as leaders in the community, as the people who can come in and help, nothing will be enough, because people are suffering and there's no way to just wave a wand and stop it. But then you also, and I know you guys hear from these folks, hear from the other side of the spectrum that think, God forbid they ever end up in hard times, because they have had such judgment in their hearts for the people who are struggling. Personally, I don't care what anybody did with their stimulus money. I just want them to keep their utilities on and get the help that's available to them, because that help is there. And if your agencies don't get to spend it on its intended purpose, y'all will lose it. And that's so good to hear that you guys are where you need to be, because that means if more revenue comes in and it's available to you guys are in a position to accept it and help more people. So I want to say thank you so much, because I know your jobs can be thankless sometimes. You see people on their worst days. Sometimes you can't always help everybody. And you guys have a better idea of just how difficult it is to make it in this world that we're living in for so many people, and the unfairness of that. And I just really appreciate you guys being willing to do what you do, being willing to participate in our events, and being here today. And Ms. Lori, I appreciate you so much, and our city staff, because if we didn't have the staff that we did, I couldn't email our city manager, after business hours and say, I don't know if this is a good idea, but can we do a 3-day type event? And it turned into a 3-day event. It was really supposed to be one. But my response back from our city manager was an apology for not getting back to me sooner, but he got ahead of me and had basically already given the go ahead to the staff to figure out how to make this happen. And people don't realize how lucky we are that we have people working to the benefit of the city, on the city level and on the city side, but even more importantly, that we have community partners like the CAC, like the United Way, like 211, like the First Ward Center, and so many other organizations that are going above and beyond and doing everything in their capacity to make Saginaw a better place, and to make sure that no one struggles if they don't have to. So just thank you so much to all of you for everything you do and for being here today. I really appreciate it. And if anybody else has any other questions or anything they'd like to add, go right ahead. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and a great week.